Yes. Okay, let me just. I hope I am. Oh, nice.
It's a good start. It's a very good start. All right, let's get this. You should be here. And all right, Scrags, can you give me another sound check real quick for me, please? Well, I can hear you, but for whatever reason, it's not coming through the system. So, um, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. We're gonna try out again. Let's make sure you're actually in that scene the way you're supposed to be. Ah, there we go. Gotcha. I hear you again. And while we're at it, why don't we get Jackson to give me a quick sound check too, please? All right, and Jackson's is not coming through either.
Uh-oh.
That's not your fault. It's my like I can hear you, but the stream can't hear you. So we're just gonna make sure that the stream can actually. There we go. That's the win. Gotcha. All right, cool. So, yeah. Now I guess I got to do my own little roll here, and we're gonna find out whether or not these guys notice you.
Nah, they don't notice us. We're like ninjas.
All right, so you guys are now just as a quick reminder as to your surroundings. You have actually dropped down into kind of this bushed, forested area, with these, and you've noticed these people walking by. But you're just barely beside the a walkway that is about 100 feet above your head. The portal was 100 feet above your head on this causeway. and you got down here in interesting ways. So, what do you guys do?
Hmm.
I'm going to whisper to Skaggs. We've left half of our group and all of your possessions behind. I think it's time that we abscond back up.
Can we get back up?
Well,
I'm not very good at climbing.
I still have my spider climb from my trinket. I can just run straight up the wall.
Okay, can you carry me?
Certainly, you left all of your things behind, so I've got no problem putting you in my backpack.
I prefer if you carried me in your arms and cradled me and told me that I'm a good boy, okay?
I will
I'm
whisper you
scared.
sweet nothings.
You're a pal. Let's go. Quick, quick.
All right.
I'm scared.
So I'm
I
gonna
am going
stealth
to get you
quickly
to
but
do an athletic.
stealthily.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you to go and throw me an athletics check real quick.
Absolutely.
Oh, no. Please. Oh.
12 could be worse.
12 could be worse. Yeah, could be worse, but it turns out that it's not that bad. So you lift him up, and yeah, you kind of hear Scraggs kind of gives you this whoo as you lift him up, but doesn't. And so you kind of quickly pay attention to the bandits that are nearby and kind of walking. They're now walking away from you, and doesn't seem to grasp their attention. And so you try to find kind of a shadowy area to get it to start crawling back up and out of view of these bandits. And before long, you realize they can't see you through the canopy of the trees. And so you just carry all the way up to the top of the causeway. And thankfully, there was this rope coming through the portal that helped you remind yourself where the portal entrance was.
Yep, I forget Jackson's character name because Jackson
Elred?
is Jackson. Elred. Yes, Elred put a rope around. Was that around yourself?
Yeah,
Yeah, so.
which isn't there anymore because I'm not
Nope.
there.
Right. But the rope is still through the portal. I think it was placed to some sort of an anchor on the other
Oh,
side.
yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, well,
Beauty.
I'm going to put Scraggs down and let him reclaim his possessions.
Yeah. I'm gonna pick up my stuff.
Alright, and I'm gonna head through the portal.
And so you step back through the portal, and immediately you're back into the House of Illusions. And inside this house, as soon as you step through the portal, there's a human child just looking at you.
Ta-da!
Mom! And it just runs around in circles trying to figure out where the exit is to the House of Illusions first, and then when he finally figures out where it is, just dashes right outside of the House of Illusions. We'll switch over to Elred now for just a couple of moments. Elred, where are you at this point in time with you?
Well, you wanted to look for the Mr. Witch and Mr. Light.
Right.
Probably would have wanted to help them find that, which I suppose would have let us. Actually, I'm not sure because the big top wouldn't be open yet. Or will the big top be open? I know the celebration thing isn't until the nighttime.
Well, roll yourself a perception check if you don't mind, please.
All right.
All right. Oh, nice.
Wow.
Yeah. So You're actually outside of the Hall of Illusions. You've already asked the mime that operates the building how about the big top or how to get a hold of um, the owners of the Witchlight Carnival, but they were only able to tell you about the big top through their hand gestures. And so as a result, you've been listening to see if you can hear whether or not there's anything. And there's actually some carnival hands out walking amongst them. Some people, the tree that was putting out the seeds at the beginning. You can actually see them off in a long distance, almost nearby the calliope. And you can hear this general murmur about the big top extravaganza starting fairly soon, actually.
Okay. Um. Yeah. I'm turning any other place like Elred would think to look for them.
Okay.
But no, I'm thinking like he'd probably want to just mostly stick around the Hall of Illusions till then, especially not knowing how long they're gonna be there.
Sure. Scrags, you have a lot of background volume there.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's quite fine. Just it seemed really, really extra there for some reason today. Okay, so if you're just gonna hang around there, then it won't take long. I imagine Shimo and Scrags, you guys are gonna come out of the Hall of Illusions then.
Can I pull the rope and spear or javelin in with us so that other people don't go through the mirror?
Yeah, you certainly can.
Definitely, I'm going to do that and return those possessions to Elrid.
Marvelous.
Right.
So you exit the Hall of Illusions. There's it's interesting because you kind of figured from the kid running out that there might be a hullabaloo coming towards the Hall of Illusions about this strange people appearing through mirrors, but nobody's paying much attention to it. They all seem to be directing themselves towards the center of the carnival.
That is very convenient for us, as no more people should be traveling through mirrors anytime soon.
That's
All right, Elrid,
the,
here's your javelin and rope back.
Thank you. He kind of, takes and puts them in his pack. The big event at the big top is starting soon. Hopefully that's where we can meet Mr. Witch and Mr. Light.
Excellent. I have some fears related to this, as the place we entered had many rogues and thieves inside of it, including chanting about a main thief, a master of them all. But oddly enough, this is connected to the Hall of Illusions, and might be connected to Mr. Witch and Mr. Light if they know anything about it.
Interesting.
We can interrogate them or avoid the confrontation. It depends on what we all think would be best.
I would say that, if there's a famous thief and it's connected with the Hall of Illusions and we went down into the Feywild, maybe the thief is a Fey creature? I mean, it looks like a little kid, so those Fey all look really young and kiddish.
Do you think this child you saw might be the pickpocket or thief that we've been looking for?
I don't know, but he knew I was looking for him, and he scampered away.
Well, that is concerning. But one other thought: if we're looking for this patron or deity, that we came here for. I think our best chances of finding them would be in this illusionary land that we went into. Skies, you called it the Feywild? Would
Yeah,
I would I
it's
know what the Feywild is already?
I am. Your history check that you did on the last session doesn't give you a whole lot. You know that there are such things as Fey because you descend from them after a fashion. You are Fey touched after all. But you don't necessarily know what that means.
Okay.
So you might actually have this sense of maybe I can find out what that all means. Maybe I can find out a little bit about my heritage.
considering my background and my association with some deities, I'm assuming that I would have an idea of that because Fae, generally speaking, are very tricksy sort of creatures.
You actually would potentially feel quite at home amongst them, or you would be particularly put off by their type of trickery. It depends on the kind of fey creature that you come across with. Um, but you do get the sense that that there was some form of. As soon as you realized it was the Feywild, you felt mixed bag of comfort, but also trepidation because you weren't quite ready to be in a different plane of existence yet.
Yeah,
But you did. It
I'm
didn't
quite scared
didn't
of
feel completely
Fae.
off.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So you guys are having all this conversation on your way over to the big top?
Yeah, well, I think we should
Sure.
move over there.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so you guys start making your way over towards the big top. You with alongside you guys as well. And as you get to the front of that big top, there's a few people who are kind of still trying to play some of the games before the show begins. So the gaming booths that are nearby the big top are fairly popular right now. But there are still some people kind of streaming into the very large three-pointed tent. It is definitely the largest obviously temporary structure, but the largest structure in the carnival. And you stream in, and you find yourself kind of walking around the circus rings to get to try to find a seat on the opposite side of the door. And you find one find a place where you guys can all kind of get yourselves in. You needs a little bit of assistance to get up there because wheels and not feet. But it gets up to these somewhat cramped seats where the people who sit right immediately in front of you are right on your knees. And if you happen to be taller than 6 feet, it might be marginally uncomfortable. Elward, do you have a tail?
A little bit.
Yeah. Okay. What do you do with your tail when you try to sit down in one of these very condensed seats?
Probably just like. Well, is it like. Are these like bleachers?
Very close, but like there's definitely chairs and with they don't have arms in them. They're very much like bleachers, but they're like fold down kind of chairs instead with very little space between. And like if you look at if you were in the three rings and you looked at the audience, you'd think that they were coming up at like a 60-degree angle. That's how close to each other you are.
Okay. Probably try and find a spot where like there's nobody behind him, and then just like have the tail just like between the the back of the chair and like the bottom.
All right, why don't you roll me a? Let's see how well this happens. Just roll something for me. Roll me a. Let's make this investigation. You're gonna look for this.
Oh no.
Yeah, okay. So you're not able to find a seat that's not already taken from the very back. There's apparently a bunch of people who really like the back seats from the very top. So that's already been claimed. But you're able to get kind of an aisle seat and get your tail to go in that general direction instead. And
Cool.
as the last few people kind of trickle in, it's now very full. It seems as almost as though the entire carnival has made their way into this tent. You quick point of fact, you did not get asked to punch a ticket to come in. This is obviously a free event for everybody. And as you're kind of getting yourself settled in and taking in the crowd. Actually, let's do this real quick too. Scraggs. Well, actually, I'm not sure that it should be Scraggs. Let's see. Who should it be? I feel like it should be. Oh, it might actually be.
Pick me.
Might actually be Scraggs. Let's see here.
Yay.
Nope. It's Shimo. Shimo, roll
Oh.
for me a perception check,
Perfect.
and we'll just use this for that. You know what? Let's get one more. Who wants to do it?
You've probably got better perception than I do.
I'll give it a
Yeah.
go.
Sure, go for it. Okay, cool. So we'll know that then. So the lights, and there are dancing lights across the top of the big top, and they start to kind of lower and dim. And as they start to dim, the whole crowd, who's been very chittery and chatty about what's going on in this big top and excited, and kids maybe a little bit out of their ability to contain their enthusiasm. But they finally all kind of start to hush as the lights go down. And then almost a few seconds later, after the hush kind of gets down, without very much delay, spotlight on a lithe elven figure who sits inside a large hoop, a silver hoop suspended above the center peak of the big top by a variety of ropes. This elf is wearing a dazzling suit of stripes and stars, and all of them kind of enhanced by these diamond-shaped panes of mirrors. And he's also got a massive set of butterfly wings off of his back. He carries a scepter, and that scepter is topped with a vein of some sort, like a weather vane kind of idea. See if I can show you what that kind of looks like. Oh, maybe not. That's okay. I'll come back to that and show you that in a couple. Oh, that's because I'm looking at the wrong section. Here we go. This is what we wanted to look at. There, handouts. There we go. This will be... I'll have to find it here in a couple. I'll find it for you, and then I can show you what it looks like. In any case, as he's coming down, as this silver hoop with this elf is coming down, you hear him kind of shout out, "Welcome, one and all, to this evening's extravaganza. I am Mr. Light. Prepare to be delighted." And as he finishes that, before he even finishes the word delighted, the extravaganza just suddenly explodes out into the rings. A bunch of different performers and attractions. The Mr. Light is your ringmaster. Over the course of this next hour of this big top extravaganza, you get a chance to see a variety of different feats of strength, songs and performances. You haven't met all of these characters quite yet. So what you do notice, and we'll go through this. The first one you notice is some big old feats of strength, not just lifting weights, but lifting other Witchlight Carnival hands, and trying to lift them in stacks and strange pyramid shapes. And the person doing this is a bugbear that's doing all of these feats of strength. You also see them wheel in later on in the show a very large fish bowl, and from inside this fish bowl, looking inside this fish bowl, you can actually see a mermaid in the fish bowl, and she begins to sing this absolutely hauntingly beautiful melody that just takes you all away into this wistful concept of a love lost. And then fairly shortly, and after the mermaid finishes singing, you recognize the next performer. It's the mime that operates the Hall of Illusions. And he actually is just coming past you guys, and he's playing silent games and imaginary card games, and lighting cigarettes for various people in the crowd. A number of fairy dragons kind of stream across above you, bringing with streamers attached to their tails, just kind of lighting the top of the big top with almost like synchronized swimming, but these are fairy dragons up in the sky, so it very much looks very coordinated circles and over, sideways, and under, and all of those ideas. And of course, all of the interesting things that are happening through this, you get oohs and ahs. Often, one corner you do hear one heckler at the mime at one point, but for the most part, they're very much enjoying this big talk. Is there anything in particular you guys would probably do when you see all of these things?
Shima would definitely be keeping an eye out for Mr. Light, as we're supposed to meet him. I want to investigate him and his demeanor as much as I can.
For sure. That would be a solid insight check then.
All right. 14.
14. All right. So as you're watching the extravaganza, certainly you're trying to be attentive to some of these wonderful acts that are happening, because you do see, again, kind of get the sense of joy permeating this entire tent. It kind of actually feels quite uplifting. But you're also trying to keep your eye on what Mr. Light is doing. Mr. Light is in full performance mode. Nothing he is doing seems entirely honest. It is obviously a facade, and he is most definitely performing for the delight. And as soon as he sees somebody's laugh or somebody cheer, his smile gets even bigger. So it's quite obvious that he feeds cleanly off the energy that's inside this tent.
Feeds off the energy. I see
Almost,
what you're
yeah.
saying.
In a negative way, he's feeding off the energy.
No. It just seems. It actually seems genuine. It seems like infectious laughter, and he is quite happy to be infected by the laughter.
Okay, all right.
I think that's all that I would specifically be looking for, and then otherwise just enjoying the acts.
Okay. Anything else for anybody else?
I'd probably also be trying to keep an eye out for Mr. Witch, though obviously we don't really know what he looks like at this point.
Yeah.
So
that is true. And you don't notice or note anybody in particular that seems to be any sort of other influential figure. Every single one of these performers tend to give each other equal regard. And actually, while we're at this, you would notice, and Elred, I'll give this to you as well. You would notice that the mermaid and the mime give each other furtive glances from time to time.
I suppose I will be looking out to see if I see the child from earlier today, the one that I suspect. But yeah, I'm kind of enjoying the show as well.
Run that perception check if you don't mind, then, please. There are so many people in here.
Yeah.
Hundreds of people inside this tent, and they're all so crammed in. After a little bit, they almost all look as though they're just like the background characters on a old-fashioned video game. They're just like 3 or 4 pixels each, and they just bounce up and down. It kind of starts to feel like that.
Okay.
But they get to, you can sense that this show has gone through so many different acts. By this point in time, and actually one of the favorite acts is a miniature snail race that happens in strange figure eights across the 3 rings. And but these snails just are going relatively fast, and they announce, if you want to try your hand out at snail racing, don't forget to look for it. And so it's kind of winding down in the show as well. And as it starts to wind down in the show, the lights get low again, and Mr. Light steps into the center ring. He says, "We are not the only performers in this world. If you feel as though you can actually entertain these audiences just a little bit too, I'd like to invite anybody to come out and perform for all of us. And don't you worry about being nervous. We welcome all."
I will definitely hurry down.
Sure.
Can I, as he's hurrying down, can I give him
stop
guidance?
him?
Okay, sorry, what did you want to do, Scrags first, and then we'll go to Errol Elvert afterwards?
As he stands up to hurry down, I'm just going to touch him on the shoulder, saying, "You can do it. Go on," giving him guidance.
Okay, and Elred, you wanted to stop him.
It just like grabs on and yank him back down to the seat.
Is this maybe supposed to be for kids? And here's an old man kind of jumping up and down like me.
Well, and actually, even though you didn't have the greatest perception, you do see people of all heights and widths stepping forward to do something. And there's not a lot actually. There's a lot of murmurs, but there's one kid, probably 6 years old, and also extremely tiny, so probably a halfling, who has already stepped forward from almost the front row. But there are some older folks that seem to be stepping down too. Elred, if you want to see if you can grasp them, I need you to roll an unarmed attack. No, sorry, athletics check. And Shimo, you get to decide if you're going to let him.
Nope.
If you're not gonna
Opposing
let him,
acrobatics.
get her done.
Oh.
Oh.
So interestingly enough, because Elred's on the aisle seat, right? So Shimo immediately stands up, launches himself in a somersault over top of Elred to step out, and Elred goes to reach out and realizes there is no Shimo there. Shimo's above and over him. Sure. So yes, Shimo, you're able to easily get down to the front. And so Mr. Light first, "You little one, come on forward." And he kind of gets right down low to this little child. "What is it that you would like to do for us today?" "I can sing." "Well, then go right ahead." And you know what? Just for fun, I'm going to get Jackson. Can I get you to roll for me a d20? See how good this kid is at singing something.
Hey, pretty good.
Oh.
He's good. Yeah, the kid and this halfling starts singing this very jovial Shivanglen kind of tune that is for people who aren't familiar with Shivanglen is very much the Shire type kind of location, very Gaelic kind of sounding folk song that this child has sung, and he's got a gorgeous voice. And Mr. Light, "How marvelous!" and over-exaggeratingly starts applauding this child, and hands over to this child a trinket of some sort. The mood of the carnival seems to get even brighter yet. The next person to come up is let's go with a half-orc. And he says, I'd like to try my hand at that bugbear fella." And so the Mr. Light says, "I don't know if we should do that. Burley, what do you think?" Huh? So as they kind of go, they banter a little bit, and then eventually Mr. Light just kind of he kind of does this flourish with his hands, and he's got a piece of paper in his hands. He says, "Let's do this," and gets the half-orc to sign a waiver of sorts, and allows them to go for a bit of a wrestling match, and the bugbear handily beats them. But there's a little bit of a sweat on the bugbear's brow when it's all said and done, and the crowd is cheering, some for the bugbear, some for the half orc. It's a lot of fun. Eventually, it gets down to Yushimo.
Excellent.
Yes, Akin, how can we be entertained by you today?
I am the great and mighty flautist known as Shimo throughout
I
this
forgot about
land.
this.
Yeah. Why do you
It's
think I
been
tried to
3
stop
weeks.
him?
Oh my gosh! But you've got guidance. Flute.
Unfortunately,
I love myself a well-played flute.
well, be prepared to be tantalized.
Oh no.
All right,
All right,
remind me
then.
what our arrangement was on this. I believe that you normally do this at disadvantage, right?
Actually, I do it without proficiency.
That's what it is. Got it. Thank you. Carry on. But you have guidance, so you get to do some things. Oh,
And
Okay.
so 10.
okay. So, Mr. Light kind of gets down onto his haunches and puts his elbows on his knees from a squatting position, just goes in like this, and the crowd gets quiet, and you start to play. And Elred, you immediately know. I wanted to stop this. At the end of your performance, you give this significant flourish of a bow, and the entire audience
I had to do it.
you had to do it. Scrags, you just missed. Yeah, we have the Shimo just played flute at the request of anybody who wanted to perform, and he was the last one. And so, while there was an absolutely wonderful performance from a 6-year-old previously that lightened the mood, you can see visibly the dancing lights colors start to turn a little bit bluer. They're still quite yellow, but you could see that cooler shade kind of develop.
Yes, I've weakened Mr. Light. Now we can take him.
So, and Mr. Light says, that
Can I see that
was
flute?
that was fit for any calliope. And is there anybody else?
Hmm. Do I have
And seeing none from anybody else at this point, he says, then it is my turn. And he does one final acrobatic flourish across the three different rings. And as he does so, he manages to actually pick up the rings, and you watch as they kind of reduce in size and start to overlap and become that silver hoop that he rode in on in the first place. And he sets himself back down on the silver hoop and says, sorry, just give me 1 second, and says, and thank you once again for coming. Please enjoy the rest of your evening. And he lifts up and into the shadows and disappears. And I'm just going to get you guys to give me a couple of moments here for a break, and I will be right back with you.
with?
All right, and we're back. Sorry about that.
I think Shimo's flute is vital to his character, you know.
It's true.
It sure seems to be in a very
Just
unique
not to
way.
my hearing.
All right, so as the carnival at Big Top ends, there's an uprising of applause, and people start to trip over themselves as they spill out.
So Mr. Light just kind of like rode off and like disappeared at the end of this.
He
Understand that correctly?
he basically just kind of disappeared. Yeah, you can't see him anymore. Don't know necessarily where he is. You do clock that the bugbear that was doing the wrestling match at the end of the Big Top Extravaganza is now actually pulling aside the very young halfling boy and the half orc, and as they are exiting the Big Top.
I'd like to not walk up to him, but kind of just like wait a bit, just so he, like when he's done with that stuff, I can talk with him.
Certainly. Better pull up my stuff about him.
Because he might know where we can find him, Mr. Light. Or Mr. Witch, for that matter.
Certainly. And as you get closer to him, you realize that he's got something on his head. He's wearing a pumpkin helmet.
Oh. Like just a helmet, or like the full, like, thing?
It looks like it is a full pumpkin, appropriately sized for his head, with carvings, much like a jack-o'-lantern, and he's looking out of the carvings.
Okay.
And he's wearing it like it's a helmet.
And I had to get closer to notice that? Dang. Anyways.
Yeah, it was not a great rolls there, so yeah.
That's fair.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Once he's done, speaking to those people, obviously.
Well, and he's giving greetings to them, and he's now kind of looking out around the crowd, and he kind of notices Shimo behind you. Says, "Skinner one."
Oh, yes, of course. What might I do for you?
For you, Mr. Light would like to meet you.
Oh, yes. Of course. May I bring my companions with me?
Who are they?
We've got
Okay,
this gentleman here, the Dragonborn, the very young Scrags back out there behind us, and you are Toaster.
I am not a toaster. I am a bugbear.
A companion of ours is named you. And they are also not a toaster.
And he looks
Though they
over
are
to you. Says,
mechanical.
okay, and he looks over to you and says, "Your name Burley too?" Good meet, Burley. Feel free to take friends. Over at the staff there behind the top.
And what did he hand me?
Just handed you a ticket, kind of a little piece of parchment that has this flourishy signature on it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh,
All
cool.
right,
He's
so
got a backstage pass.
thanks to my amazing performance.
Sure, let's go with that.
Right. And he just steps past you and back into the tent.
Okay, I'm gonna head over to where he pointed out to us.
Oh, if you're going to get there, if you're going to go there immediately, you have to actually go around the outside of the big top towards this area. And as you get to the back of to the big top, you see a tangle of like a hedge of thorns that has kind of made this circular area out behind it. And the cluster of wagons behind the big top that's all lit. It's dark out, by the way, now. It is fully past midnight-ish time, and so all of the wagons out here are lit by a variety of lanterns behind this wall of thorns, if you will. But you can just make out those wagons behind the thicket.
I had a quick question since now it's relevant. Because I'm half druid now, I wanted to pick a secondary deity. In this realm, can I pick
sure.
Saloon?
In this case, it wouldn't be Saloon, it would be Relicu.
Reliqueue. How do you
Oh,
spell Reliqueue?
I am going to write that out for you. Relicu. Relicu!
Reliqueue, because I worship the moon as well as the sun now, as I'm going to go moon druid.
Sure. So some quick feedback on that one, or quick information on that one. Yunlil is female deity of the sun, and Relicu is the male deity of the moon. And they're both quite well openly welcomed in Wesmia. And so to choose these two, you know that they are both children of Olalos, who is the mother of all. And so you know that they're going to be quite welcomed in Wesmia, where Olalos is the main deity. Permitted.
Excellent.
Okay, so you make your way over to this thicket, and let's see here, find the right thing here for you guys. Right, so as you get to the thicket, you actually notice out of the back of the big top tent, Burley, because he's not exactly a small creature, is already just exited the back of the tent as well, and is just affixing his jack-o'-lantern helmet back onto his head. He must have taken it off somewhere along the way, and is making his way over to pick up some books, and is about ready to start walking out towards the outside of this thicket, of this wall of thorns, and he notices you guys immediately. Oh, couldn't wait, huh? All right.
No reason to delay.
Sure. and he kind of takes the parchment that you've got and guides you into the staff area. And he says, he leads you into the circle of wagons. What you can see is, as you get to one of the wagons that he takes you to, obviously a much more official, probably is actually even a rolling office for that matter, wagon. There's a kind of dour-looking clown. Actually, that's not true. Sorry. You actually see Mr. Light right there. He's not dour at all. He's just kind of relocating all the diamond mirrors that was on his body and just kind of getting himself back into his regular garb. But he's got this the smile still painted on his face, very nice and bright. And he greets you with the same theatrical bow that you saw inside the Witchlight Carnival, inside the Big Top extravaganza. Please, come in. It's a delight to meet you. I am Mr. Light, and that's my associate, Mr. Witch. And he, as you see him gesture, you can see that there is another elf, oddly rotund. Elves don't tend to be rounded, but this one is a very rotund-looking elf. And he's just lounging on a bunk, and he takes off this top hat that he was wearing, and kind of bows it to you. You notice that Mr. Light still has the same scepter as he had during the performance as well, and that the scepter is spinning affably.
Excellent to meet you. Actually, for this conversation, would it behoove me to talk to you or Mr. Witch? My questions concern the fair here and the interworkings and mechanics of it.
Oh, certainly. What in particular are you hoping to learn about?
Are we alone here? Is there anyone besides you two?
Well, you do see a very dour-looking clown. This is where I got myself mixed up. You do see a very dour clown. It's obviously a clown that is the guard of the staff area. He's kind of keeping a very strong look over top of the wagons, and he's just kind of patrolling the inside. You do notice that Burley the bugbear has now left and seems to be patrolling the outside of the staff area. You kind of got the sense, you would have easily got the sense that the two of them don't tend to hang out very much. But aside from those two, there's not a lot of activity by this particular wagon. It seems to be relatively private.
I think you may want to dismiss any people who you might not want maybe to hear some uncomfortable details.
Roll a persuasion check.
All right. Oh boy.
Now I'm curious,
but I am not persuasive.
because I wouldn't necessarily call any of the things that we were seeing uncomfortable.
All right.
We definitely saw some uncomfortable things.
That's fair. That's fair.
So, he says, I doubt very much that you have anything that will unsettle Thaco back there. He kind of looks back to Thaco and like, and just keeps on walking.
If you insist. What is it that you would say powers this carnival here?
Ah, glad you asked. And he holds up his scepter and he says, the emotions of the people here power this beautiful carnival, and I can tell what those emotions are at any given time. For example, when you guys first arrived here, it was spinning at a fairly comfortable pace. Spinning a little bit higher right now. I bet it has something to do with that child that you managed to recover for our dear friends at the Lost Property booth. Or maybe the engagement that happened right under your noses.
Well, we care dearly for the patrons of this carnival and the beings of this realm.
As do I.
On that note, where did the illusions and the Hall of the Illusions come from?
He starts to kind of give you a little bit more of a look. Says,
Don't forget about the door. Don't forget about the door.
But we were,
oh, are you actually saying that out loud?
Yeah.
I think we were getting to that.
Scared me right off my dinner, it did.
The door?
Oh, don't worry, that's not the first question we have here.
It
The,
might become the most important question you have here.
the portal in the Hall of Mirrors.
And his-
Ooh,
The
boy.
scary,
although his
creepy
clown-
things.
Although his clown face still has the pain giving you the smile, his face immediately just kind of droops. And Mr. Witch, who's still sitting on the bunk, sits up and addresses you a little bit more directly for the first time, saying, forces are at work on the other side that are entirely beyond our control. The fact that you have stumbled makes me grumble.
Are they related to your carnival here? Would they possibly work with or against or neutrally to your carnival?
Neutrally. These forces at play could impact the carnival and do impact the carnival. To an extent.
Well,
Nonetheless, they are outside of our control.
to be candid, we're here under a few suspicious activities, such as pickpockets, thieves, people who might be ill-doers in your carnival.
Ah, yes. And Mr. Light says, "Ah, I see you've met Kettlestein."
Kettle steam. Would you elaborate on kettle steam?
Oh, simply a disgruntled patron. Bit of a troublemaker. Thinks that their patron lives in the Feywild, in Prismere, to be precise. You familiar with the Feywild at all?
Actually, no. Might you tell me more about it? I know my ancestors might be related to it.
Indeed, they are, as are mine and me. And know that the Feywild is full of curiosities. To hear that you are already asking about Kettlestein, you've had quite the experience at our carnival already. And yet you've been able to keep it happy. Mr. Witch kind of pipes up and says something about this patron. The Kettlestein seems to think that our carnival has something to do with it.
Would it be possible to interact with kettle steam?
If you can find them, we wouldn't mind. I'm certain it would improve the carnival's mood quite well. He opens up a pocket watch and just kind of looks at it.
Oh, what happened? When we got that man of the Hall of Mirrors, which clearly you know about. What happens? What would have happened had we not gotten him out of the Hall of Illusions?
Might not have come home from Prismere.
That would
Why
be bad
is-
indeed.
Why is that? I'm looking like it just went over my head.
And he looks at his watch again. The carnival packs up at night. And I must say I'm very proud of this trinket and how it does it so quickly. Regardless of what else is happening.
That is not what I meant. There was someone there in the mirrors.
Well, the wheel of time turns ever on. What is lost is lost. What is gone is gone.
Well, to be frank, we actually went fairly deep into the Feywild, considering our concerns and safety, and there were many people or worshippers there worshipping some kind of greater thief. Would you know more about that?
Mr. Witch and Wister kind of exchange glances. As I've said, forces beyond our control.
Can I roll a what would it be, an insight against that?
Heck yes, you can.
Absolute, it's flip.
Yeah, you get the sense from them that they really don't have control over things as much as they like to project that they do. But that doesn't seem like they're trying to hide that fact from you at this point in time. They know darn well that they put on a facade. And you get the sense that they don't necessarily have control over the facade the way that they're making everybody else in the carnival believe. Mr. Light, in the meantime, says, but that doesn't mean that you can't still enjoy the carnival considerably. And have you tried out the Bubble Pop Teapot? Or the snail races?
Actually, we haven't. Uh, are those would those be your specific recommendations of the carnival?
I think everything here is wonderful, but I have a feeling that some of you might enjoy a little bit of um, adventure, and those two can provide. So can the dragonfly rides, for that matter.
Dragonfly rides sound good.
Hmm.
Wait
I
a
agree.
second. He's trying to play at us. He's trying to get us off on the. He's trying to confuse us.
I would do no such thing. There are booths at our carnival that would, but not me.
I think the term you're looking for is more distract.
Well, that I will definitely attest to trying to do. And I'll have to explain to you why. And he points over to that dour-looking clown, Thaco, and you see that the 6-year-old halfling child is now just kind of standing beside this very grumpy-looking clown and not comfortable beside this grumpy-looking clown. I just think we have some more guests. And as much as I know that you appreciate the energies and enthusiasm and intricacies of a carnival, such as these just simply have wonder all the time, and I would hate to stifle it.
I would love to visit the dragonflies, actually. A nice view of the area would be pleasant.
Well, then walk past the Calliope, and past. You've already seen the Lost Property booth. You've probably already even walked past the Dragonfly rides, for that matter.
I believe you're correct.
Well, then, I will bid you adieu, and please enjoy the rest of the carnival and see. And he waves the scepter in front of you. See that you help others do too.
Thank you. Elrid, anything
course.
left?
I don't believe so.
Well
Alright.
then, I believe we're off. And I turn to walk away.
Yeah.
right.
Following.
So then, as you guys get just past the thicket, past Thaco and the little halfling child, who just runs straight up to Mr. Light and gives him a hug. As you walk outside of this thicket of the wall of thorns, Burley the bugbear comes up straight up to you, and he just kind of pauses you, Elrid, at first, and lifts his helmet up over his head and puts it under his arms. And what you will notice immediately is this bugbear is not smiling. In fact, he's got kind of, his ears are folded back, his eyebrows are lifted. You get the sense he's actually worried about something. Just stops you. Bad things have been happening for a while. People and things have been going missing. They know more than they're telling. I don't know
That was what I
why,
got.
but I feel like their hands are tied. But you're the only ones I've ever met who saw something in the illusions. So... Don't get me wrong. They're good people. They're actually really, really good people. They've taken so many of us in and just given us a home and a place to feel great, but I feel like I want to give back. I think you need something to make them spill the beans.
Whatever's going on here, we'll do what we can to stop it.
Everything they do is based on that scepter and watch.
Hmm.
They're never left without it.
I know it's strictly against my beliefs, but do you think creating sadness would possibly change our outcomes here? If they draw from happiness, maybe the other side could assist us?
We've had nights where, and he's now just kind of gestured for you guys to kind of walk on patrol with him around the outside of the staff area. Um, we've had nights where the the energy got bad, but that didn't stop the carnival from running because they still had their watch and scepter, and they can just pack it up with that watch, and they can just wave the scepter and get things done. The It's never been a problem. It just changes how they run the carnival that night.
Hmm.
For example, we were in this one place, Bald Ars Gate, and it got dark, and so the Fae looked more unlike the living, and people seemed to like it, even though it was dark.
I do have one question because they couldn't seem to give me a straight answer. There was a man who went into the Hall of Mirrors without a ticket being used.
Oh, that would be a problem.
What was going to happen to him? They never actually
That
answered the question.
that would be one way of becoming missing or being finding something of their own missing. And they don't do it. That's the thing. It's not Mr. Rich and Mr. Light doing that. They don't do
Okay.
it.
It's not the design of the car. That. Thank you.
I
Er,
I don't know.
do,
All I know is it's not them.
how much control do they have over the carnival?
Well, the scepter does a lot. The watch does a lot. And they do a lot that makes the mood go the way they think it should go that night. That's why Mr. Witch is hanging in the wagon, because it seems to be a bright light day, and so it's Mr. Light's night.
What happens if Mr. Witch and Mr. Light get very angry? Does their mood affect the carnival?
Everybody's mood affects the carnival. My mood is currently affecting the carnival.
But I mean, they have some control over it. So if they are especially angry, can really bad things happen more so than usual?
Not any more than any other person. It's
Okay.
truly bizarre. I feel like the scepter is a mood amplifier. Amplifier? Amplifier. Amplifier.
For all emotions in the carnival.
Makes it bigger. Yeah.
Hmm.
I believe the word you were looking for is bigified.
Yes.
Bigified.
Well, this has
Can
certainly
you
been.
do something?
I think maybe our best bet is to create as much happiness as possible. Mr. Light has a much more talkative mouth. If we can bring him out, that would behoove us.
Oh, he won't be doing that soon.
Hmm.
He You won't see them until they crown the Witchlight Monarch. They will be gone now. I mean, they'll be here.
And the Witchlight Monarch is in 2 days?
Oh no, it's in. And he looks up to the skies. I think around 4 hours.
Ah, okay.
I think we should move quickly then. If I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, is the person who brings the the joy up the most?
That is the one. Yes.
Joy it shall be then. If one of us can be the monarch, that might open up more options to us.
I'm going to
Perhaps.
recommend you try getting either that one or that one. He points to Elred and to Scraggs. To try. I don't mean to offend, but your flute playing didn't work.
How dare!
I'm sure it's just the strangeness of the carnival.
Oh,
And then he immediately puts his helmet back on and stands upright.
all right.
What's the best way to make people happy?
Well,
Besides
I-
Shimo not playing his flute.
the strangeness certainly does disadvantage my flute playing.
I should get back to work. I have talked too long. Good luck.
Thank you for your assistance. Alright, I think that our first bet should be the dragonflies. Maybe we can all get a look over the carnival and possibly find the best route, or maybe spot some of the ne'er-do-wells in the carnival.
Yeah. Also taking a look at the bubble pop teapot and the pixie kingdom might be useful.
I believe you're right. Would you like to head to the dragonflies with me?
I think we should not split the party.
But that worked so well for us last time.
No. Let's just all go together. What do you think? And I'll look up.
Suppose the dragonfly rides seem the most interesting if participating in the carnival is crucial for this mission.
I think if we get a hat, a happy hat, and put it on you, it would make people smile. I mean, who doesn't like seeing a dragon with a hat on?
I don't.
That's the point.
Scraggs has a point there. You're certainly not jovial. Maybe the addition of a hat would change that.
I can enjoy myself. I just don't like being lied to. He kind of glances back at the the staff area.
You gotta
feel
get
they're
into
not-
the spirit of things. Oh, go on, sorry.
I feel they're not getting quite to the point with everything.
Yeah. Well, let's. What about you? You, Toaster? What do you think?
I think that if we can get to meet with them again, maybe we can get more answers at the end of the night when they're not worried about things so much.
Yeah. And if one of us is crowned the king or queen or whatever, maybe we can tell them what to do. That's
think
usually
that
what
should
kings
be
and queens
Elred.
do. Oh God. All right.
You've you, you've picked such a friendly chap for this.
Yes. The
And
emotion streaming off him is just so catching.
Indeed.
well, let's
He
try
has been
to.
a good friend.
Yes.
Well, whichever one of us becomes the king or queen, if any of us do, we'll know to question the two after.
Well, so let's head.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys start making your way over to the Dragonfly rides. You pass the Calliope. It's got a very jovial tune, as you can currently hear right now. And past, get a bit of a gesture from the Displacer Beast taking care of the Lost Property booth. And carry on past a few of the carnival games. And you could hear the same carnival games as you had previously as well. But you kind of have decided you're going to the Dragonfly rides. So you beeline yourselves all over to the Dragonfly rides. And you walk in and you see huge lily pads on that water ribbon that surrounds the entire carnival. There's this kind of opening where there's a bunch of lily pads, and they're massive. And on those lily pads sit some giant dragonflies. You could hear the buzzing as they come down, as if like a helicopter landing onto a lily pad. Their wings are gorgeous. They shine. They reflect the different colors from the carnival lights, but they also reflect the starlight behind them. And they sometimes, as the next person gets onto one of the dragonflies from this dock that kind of reaches out to the different lily pads, as the next person hops on, they're given kind of this little loop. There's not much of a harness or anything. They're just given a loop, and the dragonflies patiently kind of lay off and lift and start doing interesting circles and patterns in this. And you can see that there's obviously a pattern to their flight, but for anybody who doesn't pay attention to that kind of thing, it would just look like this swarm of dragonflies.
Mm.
You do see near the entrance a small tree, a small smiling tree, looks to you and beckons you over. And as you come closer to it, a red squirrel crawls out on one of the branches and just kind of looks at you with kind of squinting eyes.
I'm going to say in Sylvan, just because I like having the ability to. Hello, my good man or woman. We're here to ride the dragonflies.
And he looks to you and says, "Why don't you get a punch?" And kind of furtively looking between the trees canopy and you guys as you guys get them punched by this tree ant sapling. And so who all's going on?
Elred is.
Elred.
I'm going on for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely am as well.
All right. I'll let you guys decide. Is you going on as well?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
I think you would.
All right. Cool. So, you guys kind of step out and you guys wait for it's not a very long lineup because the hullabaloo of everybody leaving the big top and going to get to their favorite rides seems to have died down, and now there's a nice mix of people all the way throughout the entire carnival, so the lineups aren't long. And so you wait for a couple of people to get onto dragonflies, and you get your turn. You each get one, for that matter. And yeah, okay. So as you as you kind of mount your first dragonfly, there's the person who is immediately in front of you is also stepping onto a dragonfly. And so you're all kind of getting yourself set up. But suddenly you hear kind of a yelp from the person who was in front of you. And you can see that a dragonfly has kind of lifted and started flying, and the person that was on its back, a dwarf that's on its back, doesn't have have grip or have any of the harnesses attached to them at all.
Uh-oh.
Can I leap over to try and help?
Interesting.
You can certainly try. But as you do so, you can actually see a black figure off in the kind of nearby one of the entrances, just kind of duck into a bush. I'm going to get... you want to try and help? How are you going to try and help?
Is he totally fallen off or hanging from it?
No, he's still on it. He just doesn't have much grip. Like you're still within the first 5 seconds of this happening. So you could decide what your immediate gut reaction is to do.
Can I leap on and leap over and try and help him all the way back on and help him get a grip?
Sure, you can try. Certainly try. Go for an acrobatics check.
Excellent. 20.
Oh, nice. You leap off because you were about to mount your own dragonfly. You leap off and kind of bound across the platform, but by the time you actually get to that dragonfly, he's lifted off and he's out of reach. And the dwarf is now laying on his back on the back of this dragonfly. Help!
What spells do I have? Is anyone else gonna take a shot at helping out on this?
Without just reaching out, I mean, I can try and reach out, shoot forward and grab the guy.
He's taken off already.
About 10 feet in the air already.
Yeah. Does it look like... Okay, so the guy wasn't supposed to take off, I assume. He was supposed to...
That you could safely assume that, yes.
So, a dragonfly. I am going to...
Oh, sorry.
Sugar, I can't do that. Can I? How can I do this? I could try casting protection from good and evil on it to prevent any sort of on the dragonfly, to stop it if it's being possessed or something like that, or charmed.
You can,
but it
certainly try that out.
Touch. It requires touch.
Yes, you'd have to get over there to touch it somehow.
If I create the sound of a small animal, can I imitate the squirrel in language?
Try.
Squirrel.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to use Druidcraft and make the sound of the squirrel saying, "Come back down, dragonfly," or to that dragonfly.
Okay. All right. This is first thing we're gonna go with then. Oh, this one's tricky. I'm gonna let you choose then. I'm gonna let you choose between persuasion and animal handling.
Let us see. I'm gonna go with animal handling.
All right.
14.
Really? Where? I don't. It hadn't popped up on mine yet. Nice. There it is. That was the DC. I love it. Okay, so as the dragonfly is about to kind of take off a little bit further, it just you can kind of hear the buzzing of its wings. It was super rapid and really high pitched. It just kind of it kind of flutters a little bit and then settles. And the dwarf is still very much precarious on his back, but the dragonfly just kind of turns and looks at you and is flying, hovering, looking at you.
All right, I'm going to say to it, come down further. Come here. Come.
Lands on the lily pad.
Now, can I help
And-
the dwarf down or out, like down from the dragonfly?
Certainly. Yeah, certainly. Oh, alrighty then. Well, that wasn't quite the ride I was looking for. I want to do it again. And then he just kind of crawls himself back up, grabs the harness, and this time clips in. There are clips on the side that were very tough to see from a distance. And, all right. And as he says, all right, the dragonfly just up he goes again.
Can't believe that worked.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
so wait, where was this? Would I have noticed this shadowy figure too?
I think so. I think you would have. Yeah.
Okay.
He wasn't. He was pretty out in the open where those lily pads are. There's not not a lot of cover. So even if he tried to stealth, it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, I definitely want to try like looking around. Then maybe like, or at least like use kind of the dragonfly ride almost as an excuse to like scout out the area from above.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Let's see here then, real quick.
Can I yell to Elrid, point him out for me, I'll go on foot?
And yeah, if I do spot
Okay.
him,
Yeah. Okay. So then let's get you on. Let's get you onto your dragonfly, and I'm going to get you a roll for me an animal handling check.
Fair enough. Those aren't bad for me. Not very good though either.
Yeah. So you get up onto the dragonfly and kind of give it the gesture that it's okay to kind of get up and going. And within a couple of moments of you trying to steer this dragonfly, it's quite obvious that it's got a pattern and it's going to fly its pattern. So you'd have to do a perception check from its pattern to see if you can figure out where it is.
Jackson, you with us?
Sorry.
You would have to do a perception check from this
okay.
pattern,
Missed
which you can
that
totally
part.
do if you want.
Yes. There we go.
Nice.
All right. Yeah, that works. That works pretty good. You weren't able to see exactly what's going on, but you do see that shrub that you noticed the shadow kind of go towards. It rustles ever so slightly as a child walks out of it and starts walking out into the carnival.
How high up am I?
You're going to be around 15 to 20 feet high up.
Okay.
But you're also over the water. You're not actually in the carnival much yet.
Okay, so I'm not. So well, basically, I just want to know: am I within 30 feet of Shimo?
Yeah, you are within 30 feet of Shimo.
Great. In which case, I'm going to use my sonic mind to telepathically speak to him, so I don't alert that. He kind of like points down at the thing. Follow that child. I saw them leave the bushes where I saw the figure before.
Oh, wait, can I respond in my mind, or?
No, unfortunately, it is just a message.
Oh, wait, well, I'm going to hop
Well,
over.
Yeah, not as in like the message spell, but
Yeah,
basically, yeah.
I'm going to. I'm gonna hop over to the child. Last time we saw this child, it scurried away from us really quickly, and tailing it would probably not do us much mind. Do I recognize it as the child that we saw before at the pie eating contest?
You'd have to get close enough to find out and then roll either an insight or perception check.
Which one is better for me?
So that would mean you would be abandoning your dragonfly, though.
Yes, I'm abandoning my dragonfly.
Okay.
Wait, just move down. 19.
All right, yeah. So it does look like the same child.
Okay, I'm going to hop over to them and like get right up to them and say, "Excuse me, you're still not with your parents. Are you lost or having any troubles?"
So it's going to take you a little bit to get to him because he's already into the carnival, and so you actually have to get out of the
Oh.
dragonfly rides and out to him.
Obviously, I'd make another perception check on this if you want. Is the child roughly the same, like, size as the figure we saw? Is that something we would be able to tell? I know it was
You
relatively far away.
not from this distance, you wouldn't be able to
Yeah,
see
that's
that.
fair. That's fair.
I also need to get something else done here too because you is about to go up onto a dragonfly,
Okay.
and we could see how this could get interesting. I have no idea what their skills are on animal handling, so we're gonna find out. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let's see here, guys. I did click it. It's come. There we go. Oh yeah. So you takes a little bit more to kind of secure themselves in. They take a little bit of time, but then they do, and they get up onto the dragonfly, and they seem to be able to steer the dragonfly.
Oh.
And they kind of steer the dragonfly into the general direction of the child to kind of give you a little bit of help to try to track them down. So I'm going to get you to roll me a perception check, if you would, please, Shimo.
All right.
And this will be with advantage. Not that you
22.
needed it. So you're able to track this kid down, and then you can actually. How are you gonna stop them from walking away from you?
That's a good question. I feel like physical contact might cause a commotion. I'm just gonna walk up next to them. I'm not very tall. I'm 5 feet tall. How much taller am I than this child? Roughly.
Roughly, you are about 2 feet taller.
Oh, okay, so I
A
can't go
foot and a half.
shoulder.
Foot and a half.
All right, so I can kind of go shoulder to shoulder with the child.
You'd have to squat quite a bit, but yeah, you could.
All right, I'm gonna kind of like lean over and say, "You're still not with your parents. Are you sure you're okay?"
And it's just gonna look wide-eyed at you. Before we resolve that, Scrags, what are you doing at this point?
I am just that's a good question. I was trying to cast a spell and I couldn't because I would need touch. So I'd be trying to reach the guy, so I would trying to be helping get the dwarf off initially, the dragonfly, and then I would just be watching you, um, do that. I assume I would have seen the child.
Yes, definitely you would have.
Yeah.
Or at least you would have seen. First of all, you would have seen a shadow going to a bush, and then you
Okay.
would have seen Shimo leaving the dragonfly rides
Yeah.
without much notice.
Yeah. So I wouldn't have. Yeah. So I would just be trying to approach the child without giving without giving myself away, noting that I can't be stealthy. I do have armor, the clang of armor.
Right.
So I will be staying back, but prepared to cast a spell should I see the child attempt to do anything. I would try to cast a spell.
For sure. Okay. Then. All right. Then, you hear. So, in response to your question, Shimo, you hear him say, and it's a child, but it's an unusual voice that you're hearing. You're hearing more like a man's voice, and it's a very sultry, smooth voice, for that matter, too. And so what you hear him say is, I'm fine, thank you.
Would you mind coming with me to the Lost Children booth? I would have to insist.
Persuasion check.
Ah, great. Why is the charisma lacking guy over here? 0.
Oh! Okay, that was a nat 1 on a persuasion check. Hang on, DM's trying to figure out what to do with that. Let's
Oh
see here.
gosh.
Okay. You kind of see the child kind of looks to you, kind of grabs in close, and in a very high pitched, although very still obviously male voice, help! And then just kind of starts running away into towards the feasting orchard, which you already know where it's located.
Oh gosh.
Okay, I am going to. I'm going to do an. Oh, how far was I away from the kids? That's the problem.
I'm going to say you would have been able to get within casting distance if it was like if you're doing for a rangey thing. Otherwise, we'll have to go for a stealth check to see if you could get super close. Do you want to do it?
I want to do something in front of the child, and I'm going to use my. This could work. This may work. It may not work. I'm going to cast this, and I'm going to have it place it in front of the child, so it's an exact, perfect copy of myself. You can't tell if it's an illusion or not. And as the child run passes, I'm going to cast. Oh God! I'm going to cast a spell.
I like this. Let's do this. Let's do this. This is fun.
Sugar, this could be really bad.
Oh.
What's the spell? What's the spell?
I thought I had inflict wounds. I don't.
Oh no.
Oh no! What do you have? What are you gonna do then?
The only thing that I have that's anyway useful is it missed the last time, but I'll try it again.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so then I gotta look things up here real quick. Oh, okay. And this is a wisdom saving throw, is it? Yeah, it is. Okay.
Yeah, but fake creatures, some fake creatures. I'm thinking this is fake. Have some sort of advantage.
That is true. Fake creatures do have that.
So it was either this or guiding bolt.
He rolled a nat 1 on his saving throw.
Woo.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So, Elred, you're on a dragonfly, and you're flying despite your best efforts. Lazy figure eights in various height levels in the sky. But while you're doing that, because you can't get this dragonfly to go where you want it to go, you are still watching what's happening outside. And just in between a couple of booths, you can sometimes see Shimo and Scrags and this child, because you were able to identify them. But they're way out of your range for communication now, and you're kind of ready for this dragonfly to land so you can rejoin them. Every once in a while you look to you and you can see kind of a similar effect from you, although you seems to be in much larger figure eights than the rest of the group happens to be. But as you're watching, you suddenly notice down the path further, Scrags appears there again, and you have to do a double take because you see 2 of them. And the child that's now running, you've heard a yelp. You didn't really know what it was they were saying, but the child that went blitzing down that direction immediately comes front to front with this new version of Scrags and tries to do the dancing dodge around it kind of thing. But that duplicate manages to get it charmed And what are you going to do with this charm now?
Well, I can. I am going to have the child. I'm going to tell the child to go towards Shimo. To go to Shimo. Let's see. I'm just checking here. Yeah, so it's friendly. So I'm going to have it to hold my hand, which you can't do, obviously. So it's going to try to grab
Well,
my
you're going to
hand.
have to offer it. So you're not
Yeah.
like charm person doesn't tell them to do it. You actually have to have a communication with them,
Yeah,
as
no,
if they're your friend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
going to have it come follow me. So it regards me as a friend, so I'm going to have it to come over and follow me because I have something interesting to show it.
Okay. So he saw. This child stops running and like kind of slowly stops running and kind of looks back to you and says, "Okay, what is so interesting?"
From my I can't do that. I'm gonna pull something out from beneath my cloak, like something shiny,
Oh, okay, cool.
like a
And so-
coin. My coin is gonna come out
Sure.
from behind my cloak, and I'm going to offer it to the child. And obviously, this
Is
is
it-
my duplicate doing it.
Is this the white coin?
This is the coin that I always keep on my person. It's a big, heavy, shiny gold coin.
And so it's going to come up to you, and he's going to look at this coin, and he's going to look at you.
Take it. And at this point, I'm hoping that Shimo is still running after the child.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. And about this point in time, Elred, your dragonfly is landing. You're muted.
You're muted.
Right. Immediately trying to chase after, like, them. I don't know how far they got, but yeah, just trying to catch up.
Sure, it's not that far. You will be able to catch up fairly quickly. You will be able to follow suit fairly quickly after you as well.
Alright.
But
Oof.
as he's looking at this coin, he looks to you and says, "How do you know Zabilna?" That's the Scrags that he's saying that. How do you know
Would I
Zabilna?
hear this? Would I hear this? Can I perceive through my?
Oh yeah, you're close. You have to be close enough that you'll be able to perceive it anyway. So for sure.
Yeah. I will say, that's for me to know and for you to find out. Now take it. And I'm starting, my real Scrags is yelling to Shimo, get him, quick.
Right.
So
I
he goes
can't
to
hold
grab
him.
the coin. He goes to grab the coin and say, "Are you sure?" Grabs the coin.
And while he does that, can I scoop him up?
Yeah, you certainly can. Go ahead and roll me an athletics check.
Don't mess this
Alright.
up.
7. I hope he rolls low. Or can I get it with advantage because he's distracted?
Ooh. No.
Or I'm being helped
Uh,
by Scrags.
Let's see here. It is advantage because you are being helped. I will take that for sure. That makes sense to me. But all right.
Am I doing a guiding bolt now?
Oh yeah, no. So you grab him sight unseen, or grab the child sight unseen, and grip him tight, and he's immediately you could Scrags, you could feel that the spell has now broken because of something
Yeah, an
something
attack.
harmful to it. So he starts he still has the coin in his hand, starts just trying to reef up against your arms, but obviously can't. Now, what you notice when you grab him, Shimo, is you grab something that doesn't feel like human flesh and clothing. You feel feathers.
I'm definitely going to I'm gonna yell out to you. Can you see Mr. Witch or Mr. Light?
And so, like, they're a bit of a distance away. Elred will have caught up to you by this point in time. So, Elred, why don't you give a perception check on that?
Yeah.
Bit sleepy. Now, to be fair, the kid was trying to grab the coin that my duplicate had, so you wouldn't be able to grab anything. It's just imaginary. Or it's
That's
just
right. So
illusion.
he's holding onto this illusionary coin. Yeah. So you look out there. You can see quite a few things. What you actually notice mostly is that there's a number of people who are looking at you, your group, with obvious concern and shock. And actually, a couple of carnival hands seem to be starting to walk towards you. But there's no Mr. Witch and Mr. Light aren't visible, but there's lots of other people in the area.
Well, I get the feeling we're not gonna have much time here, so I think we're better dispatch with the formalities. Elred's kind of look at, what were you doing in the bushes out there? You were watching when that man, this dragonfly flew off without a harness.
All right, so let's see here, because you guys are still out in the middle of the corridors of the hallway of the main pathways, doing all this. Are you going to move them before you do that?
Probably try to start walk. Well, I would probably start trying to walk with them, but like, I feel like any quick movements is going to make us look really suspicious to like the rest of the carnival.
Can I
Probably
lift
true
up?
with that.
Can I lift them up like a naughty child and say to everyone, "My kid's just throwing a temper tantrum. I'm heading over to take care of this. Everyone, it's okay."
All right, why don't you roll me a persuasion check on that one, or no, deception check. We haven't done deceptions yet.
11.
Can a monk deceive?
Apparently not.
Apparently not.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see here.
Not well, but somewhat.
I will say, if I get to him,
most of the patrons actually just carry on, but one Witchlight hand comes up to you. It's another elf, and he looks to you and to the child. Looks to the child. Are you all right? Absolutely not. He's obviously trying to cover his voice. And I gotta roll something here real quick.
Just deception on deception on deception.
Yeah, I have to do 2 of these, so just bear with me here, guys.
Inception, deception.
That seems almost like it, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so... Okay.
Let's
Oh,
go.
dang! The DM does not have the dice today. All right. So, the Witchlight hand is kind of thrown off a little bit by the voice, but hasn't really picked up on anything yet. Oh, you know what? I did the wrong modifier on that first roll. It was actually just a regular 8. So he does actually looks at the child and says, yeah, let's pull him off to the side here. And he just guides you and the child off to this side, but it's kind of out of the path, and just kind of gestures for you to kind of sit the child down and hold on to him.
I'm gonna sit him down and like hold them tightly.
Okay.
I'm going to give guidance on Shimo, should there be any sort of a check.
Okay.
I'm definitely trying to physically restrain this, probably not child.
Probably not child. So, and the Witchlight hand says, and just kind of pushes into the shoulder of the child and misses the shoulder. And then kind of lowers the head. Drop it. And immediately it drops its disguise self-spell, and you see a Kenku.
That's what I thought.
Really? A Kenku from the start. The moment I knew that there was a child, I knew it was a Kenku. There can only be one. Mimicking.
When I felt feathers, I knew this child is winged.
Yeah.
So, I will ask again. Why were you out there?
Hang on. And the witchlight hand that's there. Actually, I have a question that's kind of more important first. Why do you sound like Candlefoot? And immediately the Kenku kind of drops his shoulders. Now, here's where DM has to ask above board question. I don't know how everybody is feeling about it, but we can carry on for a little bit longer if you would like. This is normally where I would have said, okay, this is where I'm going to stop us. But we can carry on for a little bit longer if you wanted to. If people have things that they got to do, people got things they got to do, and that's totally cool too.
That's stuff I got to do.
Fair enough.
I would love to carry on.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Then that's where we're going to stop. We're going to stop with you questioning a Kenku.
Yay! I did not think we were gonna catch him.
You got lucky on a couple of rolls there, actually, and that invoke duplicity, that was clutch. That was totally the way to do it.
I thought I could use invoke duplicity and then inflict wounds and just blow him away. That could have been really nasty.
If it was a commoner, it would have been done.
Yeah, and then I'm like, well, I have another spell, so I can just do healing word. It'll be fine.
Just appear out of nowhere and then completely. Oh no! Inflict wounds might just kill a commoner.
Yeah, and here's the tricky one. And I get to get you guys' feedback on this, because healing word requires that the target can hear you, but if the target's already dead...
Well, if the target's already dead, healing word doesn't do anything.
Right.
If the target is down, healing word works.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I was kind of debating that one. The brain actually has to be able to perceive stuff, right? So... That's kind of one of those nebulous areas that I've had different DMs rule different ways, and so
Yeah. I mean,
we'll keep it light.
know
We'll keep it light and fun.
Players like to use it to get people up. A lot of DMs frown on it.
Yeah, it's we'll keep it friendly though. We'll keep it nice and light.
It's in a weird spot where if you don't allow it to pick up unconscious people, I feel like it becomes so weak because of how little healing it does.
Yeah.
That is true.
It becomes kind of not useless because it is a first level spell that lets you heal from a distance.
And it's a bonus action.
Very weak, even if it's only a bonus action.
Totally true. All of that is true.
And actually, you wouldn't be able to healing word someone if you inflict wounds them, because you can't use 2 leveled spells in the same round.
But it would be the next round, you see.
Yeah, you get 6
Death saving throw.
Anyways, no, the bigger concern was that you would kill a commoner outright with inflict wounds.
Oh yeah, if you double their health.
Oh, that would be brutal.
Because inflict wounds is probably 15. It's a little over 15 damage on average.
Yeah.
I just mean, on average. Which means even a lot of just first level characters.
3d10 is probably closer to 20. But I just thought it might. I don't know.
I would have loved that. That would have been so funny.
The thing is with the channel divinity for the invoke duplicity.
Oh man.
It can either be really super powerful or super weak, depending on the DM. It can be super powerful because creatures will keep attacking and not realizing that it's an illusion, and they'll keep on wasting their attacks, or they'll see through it immediately. The DM says, "Oh no, he sees through it immediately," and just ignores the duplicate. So it really depends.
Right.
And that's the problem with a lot of spells in D&D is
Right,
that
right.
things... It depends on
Yeah.
how willing the DM is going to be. Like
Yeah,
the
the ones
illusion
that
spells.
Yeah, the ones that aren't just, hey, make save, roll dice, bam, bam, bam.
Yeah. Like a
Along
very
with the
powerful...
trickier spells.
A very
Right.
powerful spell is Phantasmal Force, where you create an illusion around someone and they take damage because they think the illusion is real. So if you say the illusion is you're stuck in an Iron Maiden that's on fire, and there's snakes in there biting your legs. I mean, you can't move, you can't see, so you can't move. So what do? You just kind of stand there and take the damage. But then some DMs are like, no, you try to push your hand through the door, a spike or something, and you see it's an illusion. But you wouldn't. That's the whole point. You can't. Yeah, it's hard to know. It's hard to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hop off then.
Yeah,
so.
you look wrecked, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is the first time I've woken up this early in so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
so
take
we'll-
care of you, and thank you
Take
guys
care.
very much for a wonderful
Cheers.
game.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
So long.
I'm waving to no camera.